Welcome, welcome. It's Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, bringing you another Star Citizen video. And today we're going to tackle Inside Star Citizen that just came out about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. And in this particular version of Inside Star Citizen, they were going to talk about modules, mission modules specifically. But first, Jared came on and he wanted to address the live alpha issues that everybody's been facing. Mostly people who have larger amount of ships in their fleet, can't log in, or, people who do get logged in get stuck in seats, etc. There's a lot of different bugs going on right now that's keeping a lot of people from being able to play the game. And he wanted to address it. And he says they're sorry for the rough launch, but he does hope that everybody can see the hard work that the people are putting in the background to try to fix things, to try to get things working again. There are some bugs that just came up that they didn't know existed. And due to the large amount of people who logged into 318 or tried to, they were able to find some of these bugs. So at the end of the video, he actually goes on to thank everybody for, trying to log in because it was able to, bring about the vision of some of these bugs so that they can, or bring them into vision so that they can get them fixed. So he did say, be patient. They're working on it. They knew that it was going to be a rough rollout. We all should have known it was going to be a rough rollout. I know everybody's like, well, we've had rough rollouts before. They should get this crap fixed. Well, they're introducing some new things. Yes, I'm kind of Pollyanning it a little bit, as the term was used, but there really is a lot of things being added into the game that are going to produce a lot of bugs. And yeah, I know they've been putting 318 in since last summer. I know that, but let's hope they can get some of these bugs sorted out before 4.0 gets here. Otherwise, we're going to have another 3.9 situation where nobody can play the game for the entire patch, and nobody wants that. I mean, right now some people are struggling. From what I hear, more and more people are getting on the servers now as a couple days have gone by, and they've made a few hot fixes here and there. So keep trying, don't get discouraged, and maybe you'll be able to pop on. Personally, I have not even tried to log in with my main account because I have so many ships on that account. I just think that would be a waste of time for me right now. I will be logging in probably on one of my backup accounts. It kind of sucks because the ships that I need to do content on, like the Vulture and the Antares, are both on my main account. So I can't really give you guys the content that I want to give you because those are on my main account, and I probably won't be able to log into that. So hopefully we'll get that solved soon, and I can bring you some other content with some backup accounts or backup characters, if you will, or I can do something a little bit different. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of this week's Inside Star Citizen. They are talking again about mission modules. So originally, they had these modules, or these missions that were built out by developers. They were programmed in such a way that they weren't cohesive. They weren't universal. One programmer would program a mission one way, another programmer would program a mission another way. So there was really no or very little crossover between the way that the missions were programmed. And there was no room for modularity within the missions themselves. The programmer just wrote a mission from beginning to end, and that was it. There was no room for, oh, well, you just picked up a box, but now you're going to have to deliver it, over here in order to open up an opportunity to take another box over there, and so on and so forth. So unless the mission was originally programmed for that, you couldn't do that. With mission modules, they're going to enable programming for those missions to be much more uniform and much easier for them to implement in the game. So the missions can have modules and they can have sub-modules, and then they can all be put together with what they call a wrapper module. I don't really want to go in too deep. They will do this. This guy here will definitely talk about how you have the multi-stop delivery missions with initialized delivery, the round delivery, the pickup, the drop-off. He goes into the major details of how this is going to work, and they even kind of make fun of it in the video itself, as they've got guys checking their phones out, tapping their fingers, waiting on him to finish what he's saying. So let's not go too much into detail on that. What I would like to tell you is how it's all going to work is through something they call Data Forge. And with Data Forge, it makes it much easier for them to modify mission properties and parameters. They can actually go in and change specifics to a mission with the Data Forge. They could go in and create missions using Data Forge as well. So like if you're having to go and take out a boss at a certain installation or whatever, first you may have to go through all the enemies before the boss spawns, and then you can take out the boss. Or if you're doing a delivery mission, like I said before, you may have to deliver something in order to get another box to deliver somewhere else. Or you may have 3 boxes to deliver 3 different locations, and you can do them in any order, and the mission will still be able to keep track of it. And then you have to go somewhere else to get your payment or something. I mean, there's all sorts of different ways that they can do this. Some of it was obviously pretty high level, but the basics of it are they're making it to where they can design missions much easier, much more uniform, so from one person or one designer to the next, and where those missions can be tweaked or modified much more easily. So you're not going to get 2 of the same mission per se, in the same area. You're not having the same, assassinate the... Like right now, we have missions that you're pretty much doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're grinding. With this new mission modularity, they're going to make it to where it's much less of a grind, and you're seeing something a little different or a little new or a lot new, which I really like the idea of. Hopefully you guys do too. They're also talked about like the salvage module, how that could work. And the way that's going to work is, let's say you're trying to salvage a wreck, you get a legal mining claim or a salvage claim from a reputable company. They send you out to the spot, and you get there. Maybe there's an NPC there already salvaging your wreck. You may have to fight them, you may have to run them off, something along those lines. Or it could be another PC out there that's trying to get to the wreck before you. Same thing, you may have to figure out how to run them off so that you can legally get your salvage claim. Some of the sub-modules to that would be, let's say you get there and you have to run somebody off, or maybe they bring in other ships, like, they're there with their vulture, but they call their buddies and 3 arrows show up, and you'll have to figure out how to deal with those. Or maybe they're a chicken ship where they run away from you, and after a certain time they come back with a lot more buddies, like, bigger ships or heavier fighters or whatever, to run you off. Again, that's something you'll have to deal with. Or if you run them off, maybe they stay gone for good and you can salvage the ship. Now, on the counter of that, you could get a mission that says, hey, get to this ship to salvage before anybody else arrives, and you can claim the salvage for it. And you get out there and you start salvaging it, and maybe somebody that has a legal right to it shows up, and you have to deal with that. So they have it on both sides of the coin, of the lawful and the unlawful. So it should be pretty interesting to see how some of these modules will make some of the gameplay. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it all comes together and how many different kinds of missions we're going to have. You know, I knew at the beginning of this game that there were going to be tons and tons of different missions. I didn't know how easy that was going to be to make, and obviously it hasn't been too easy. I mean, they've waited this long to create the back-end tools to give them the ability to make these modules and make these missions more modular. So it has taken them quite a while, or maybe on purpose it's taken them this long because they just haven't been ready to move on to that stage. Now, I will tell you that most of the time, a lot of the stuff when it comes to mission modularity and all that doesn't come in until nearly beta. No, I'm not saying Star Citizen is anywhere near beta, but that's usually the way it works, is they can put in more modularity to missions for other games, you know, when you get much closer to the beta version of the game release. Sadly, we are still quite a ways from that. Now, this Inside Star Citizen goes on for about 7 more minutes. I'm going to cut it short here because I basically went over everything that they talked about. You know, I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'm not going to noobify this video, but I am going to cut it shorter than what, you know, the actual video was. If you want to learn more or hear more in detail some of the stuff I went over, please make sure you check out the video itself. But I think I did a decent job of covering what they talked about. Please hit that like button and that subscribe button. And if you're interested in helping the channel out, please make sure you go to my YouTube members and become a member, or go to my Patreon and, you know, join that way. Everything is very appreciated. I can't tell you how much I thank you guys for helping me out. Things have been rough lately. I'm still without a job, still trying to raise 2 puppies that are absolutely nuts. So anything and everything is welcome, and I thank you guys once again. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, and I'll see you out in the verse.